Welcome back. In case you're just joining us, it's still Moneyline with Nancy today on African Independent Television. Right now, we're looking at President Buhari's comments on Nigerian youths. If you take a look at the social media, it's heated up. I'm not a lazy Nigerian youth. Hashtag lazy Nigerian youth. That's what's trending. Dr. Ihua, the Chief Executive Officer at NOI Pulse, is joining me right now. Long time no see. Welcome to the show. How are you today?
Thank you, Nancy. I'm well. Long time no see. It's been a while.
It's been a while. It's been a while. How are you doing?
Well, I've been having a lot of field work, a lot of traveling across the country. So. Okay,
we'll come to that in a bit. Talk to me about your assessment of the President's comment at the Commonwealth Business Forum in London 2 days ago. We played the video earlier. So that we can give our guests, viewers, a perspective with the question that was asked and how the president answered that made that comment go viral. What are your thoughts?
Oh, Nancy, you know, it's quite unfortunate. That comment was a blow below the belt for the average Nigerian youth. You know, especially the masses, the ragtags and the bobtails, the looming proletariats, the talakawas and the mekunus, especially for a president that came to office on the back of being an ore mekunu or you know, a bokin talakawa. Someone who came from that background of being a friend of the poor to now make, whose fault is it that the youths are not going to school? Whose fault is it that the youths don't have jobs? I mean, I think that's what we should be looking at. So it's quite unfortunate, really. I know his media aides have tried to say, oh, he was just referring to some youths. But every youth, the government has responsibility for everyone, not just a certain group or class of people. So, I mean, that statement is quite unfortunate, especially to the masses who believe and expect that government will provide some sort of social support, some sort of social safety nets to cushion the effects of the economy. I mean, I've been traveling across the country. The economy's impact on Nigerians is tough, and that's what I see everywhere I go. So, you know, it's quite unfortunate.
Now, if you take a look at the statement that came out from the presidency yesterday, trying to do damage control, no, the president did not mean all youths, but some. Is there an element of truth there?
You see, even if you say that some youths, what I see everywhere I travel is resilience. You know, sometimes for us pollsters or social researchers, we wonder if, you know, some of those in high office and actually go to the field. Come along with me to the field and see what is happening on ground. Speak to the average Nigerian and hear what they've got to say. I mean, I've just been everywhere. You go to, say, let's take Abia. You go to Abia State now as we speak. Abia State Polytechnic is on strike. The lecturers are protesting. They've not been paid salaries. Pensioners have not been paid. Salaries of workers have not been paid. You know, half year as we speak, local government staff have been owed 9 months. I mean, you go to Osun, the election is buzzing. People have not been paid salaries. You go to Rivers, insecurity is rife. Now they're preparing for local government and state government elections, local government and councilship elections. And what is happening now is that the youths are politically active, but then where's the support to create jobs? So politics now seems to be a viable option. In the presence of the camera, the governor comes out and says, oh, if you are popular, go down to your local government and contest. And behind the camera, he says, oh, I'm anointing this person to come out. And because of that, you see a lot of ripples among the youths in this state. You go to Benue. I have my colleagues now, we're in Benue. We're conducting an agricultural survey. Agbovenga, Kwegi, Seadudu. These are local villages. The villages have been ransacked, and these guys who are farmers are out of the village, moving to the capital of the local government, Nakadas in Gwe West local government, as we speak. As a matter of fact, the implication of this is that if nothing is done about some of these trends, especially as it pertains to the farmers, we are still benefiting from the harvest of last year, where we will see the issues when next year comes and we need to have food. There is a looming food crisis now.
Well, actually, so does that negate from your findings what the president did say also at the business forum there? He said the economy is doing very well, especially for agriculture. And you know, we said it, I've interviewed a lot of farmers here on the program, and they told me that, Nancy, that we do need to take time because there could be a looming food crisis, the Fulani herdsmen crisis and all of that. You know, there could be, so from your findings, there could be a food
absolutely, it's
scarcity
clear. It's clear. I mean, and I hope the Ministry of Agriculture and the Minister are taking note of this, because we've been to Nasarawa, we've been to Plateau, we've been to Benue. I mean, we've traveled all across the country, and this issue of bandits, or whether you want to call them Fulani headsmen and farmers, is a major issue. I mean, villages have been ransacked. As I speak to you, there are people who have become IDPs all in the local government headquarters. And these are farmers who can't go back to their farms for fear of being maimed, for fear of being killed. What's going to happen? Will food generate itself? Will it just come out of the ground? Farmers need to go and farm. And if they're not farming at the moment because they're scared of their life, we should be wondering what will happen next year.
Now, Professor Oshibajo, the Vice President, was in Lagos yesterday. I saw him. He visited the fintech, in Lagos. And he did say, I saw a Vice President that was speaking for youths yesterday and saying, oh, I like what is happening here, that these are the generations of people that would make a change in the next 10 to 20 years. But his Oga, his boss, the other side of the world, is saying our youths want to do nothing. So how do you see that?
You see, what is happening here clearly is a situation of, I think sometimes in communication, the information that's being passed to the president. For the president, I mean, if you watch that clip a little more, he said the economy is doing well. Doing very well. That's what I said. Those were his words. Yeah, very well. I mean, I wonder, have the ministers traveled around this country? Do they go to the states to see what Nigerians are experiencing? You go to Kogi, between Abaji, there are some small villages, Abaji, Idu, and some of these places have become kidnap zones. You make mistake and travel across that place at night, you are kidnapped. People asking for ransom to release you.
A guest of mine was kidnapped 2 weeks ago.
You can imagine.
Shadrach, for those that watch my show, they are Greek. The man that comes here on my show to talk about farming and agriculture, Shadrach man, he was kidnapped along Kaduna Road with his 9-year-old son.
Has he been released?
Yes, he has been released, and he paid a ransom.
No, of course. I mean, these are the situations. So there's a disconnect between what is happening on ground and the information that the president is being fed. And that's why it's important sometimes for independent opinions, independent views. Leave your advisors. Go out and seek for people who can go to the field, gather the data, come back and tell you this is the true situation of things on ground now. Because clearly, there's a disconnect between what is happening on ground and the information they are getting at the top.
Would you also say that that is the bane of what is happening? Because if you take a look at President Buhari's comment, do you think that there's an element of truth there somehow? Because with what the presidency came out to say yesterday, that not a lot but few or some Nigerian youths are lazy. Is the president also talking from experience of wherever, from wherever segment he's looking at it from?
No, now let me tell you, let's put it this way. When we say they are they lazy because they just want to be idle, or they are lazy because they don't have support? Every policy that has been targeted towards giving young people support or financial loans in this country have not been implemented to the letter. Only UWIN made some success. And the issue with UWIN was lack of scale. If it had been scaled up, the impact of UWIN would have been great. As
now we have UWIN Connect.
Let me give you a simple scenario. So 2 years ago, BOI came out, they were giving loans to young people. They listed a list of criteria on their website, and young people said about 10,000 applied. After screening, about 2,000 came out. So first things first, you need to do a 6 weeks online course. They applied, they did the 6 weeks online course. After the 6 weeks online course, you need to come to for a 1 week face-to-face training organized by Lagos Business School. They came to that training. After the training, they say, what did you write before? Those applying for 1 million, those applying for 4 million. Anything you apply for, reduce it by 1 million. They reduce by 1 million. Okay, we're still waiting. And they have been waiting. The position have been changing. On their website, it says, bring 1 guarantor. Now, in actual fact, they tell them, bring 2 guarantors of 5 million each, assuming you're looking for 5 million, people who will come and bring checks.
Of 5 million.
Check, or 5 million, meaning 10 million. And at the end of the day, youths are tired of the situation, are tired of the process, and they can't move through. Then you have other private initiatives. They come and say, okay, African youth, entrepreneurship, this, that. They organize themselves. They invite youth to apply. Youths apply. Then they say, okay, come and pay 30,000 naira to pitch your ideas to entrepreneurs. You pay 30,000 naira, you finish pitching your idea, you don't hear from them. After that, they say, oh, we're organizing a meeting with the giants. You come, they see, you meet some entrepreneurs, they invite to come and speak. They don't even allow you come close to even interact with them one after the other. I mean, it's down to policy. And, you know, yes, two critical points we've been seeing across the different states. One, unemployment is high. Two, crime is high. Because if unemployment is high, what do you expect?
Where did you see unemployment the highest? Which area of the country?
In the northern part of the country. I mean, like we were in Karo Namoda in Zamfara, and you know, near the Polytechnic, the Federal Polytechnic, Karo Namoda, hordes of unemployed youth. No, there's nothing to be done. There's no one to employ them. The main employer of labor there is the state government. If there's a contract, they invite them to come and
Now, doesn't that also validate what the president has said in a way?
No, it doesn't.
With what the presidency came out to say, just a few. So perhaps the president is also exposed to a lot of unemployed youths in the north coming to beg for, for things every day.
Nancy, it doesn't. And why doesn't it? It doesn't because the president is ascribing the blame on the youths.
On the youths.
The blame should be with the government. Two things: policy. How are policy been implemented? Say you have it. You know, the president said something that you don't need to go to the bank. You get loans.
Physical loans. Yes, he said that, and I'm like, without collateral. That's what he said.
Where would you go?
Perhaps he meant.
BUI at the beginning they say, oh, startup funds. When they got into the program, they say, oh, it's no longer startup. We are funding is scale up. So you shouldn't be starting up. And people had applied with ideas, great ideas to start up project. As we speak, I'm sure some viewers are listening. They would tweet and tell you the true position of things.
Okay, let's take a look at, because you just said you came back from many states. You've given an analysis of Rivers, Benue. Do you have other states you want to talk?
I mean,
I'm particularly interested in Imo. Did you travel to?
Yes,
what's happening in Imo? Because I found out today that the governor of Imo State has imposed a 3,000 naira levy on adults and all of that. And I was just screaming in the house before I came out. What actually is happening in this state? Governor Rocha Sokorocha. What is happening?
The state is tense at the moment, obviously because of elections. There's a lot of election nearing process going on. Different people who want to come out. People are angry with what has happened and saying that the governor must not impose any candidates on them. In fact, you see a lot of apathy. We're going out to interview people and people are not interested. They're tired of the system. They're tired of the current happenings. They're tired of the government. They're tired with everything. And you're trying to engage them and say, oh, this survey is going to help you. It's going to, same with Ekiti. Electioneering going on. So you're seeing inter-party rivalries, inter-party,
Are there any economic activities happening at its highest in those states, like Ekiti? Because Governor Fayashe touts it all the time that he's doing well in Ekiti. And talk to me about the situation, the economic condition. Yeah, that's the word. The economic condition of people in Ekiti State. In Ekiti State?
Yes, it's poor. The truth is that most of the residents there, if you're not working for the state government, you are either doing your own small business. If you're not doing your own small business, you are either a farmer.
Are they supported?
We don't have. That's where the issue is. There's very little support to either entrepreneurs or farmers. Sometimes I look at the figures bandied by the National Social Investment Program. Oh, with 25 million meals have been served, over 5 million, 200,000 empowered, employed under empowered. The question is, these 200,000, can we verify them? But beyond the verification, it's a drop in the ocean. Just the recent graduates from NYSC are more than 200. So let's just say you took half of those what of the rest, the pack? Until we begin to look at policies that can enable young people to create jobs and employ, say, 4 or 5 of their mates, and create jobs and employ 4, 5, 3, that is the only way forward. And how are they going to get loans? In the initial, I still talk about this BOI. they said, oh, it was going to be 9%, but in actual
yes,
fact,
it's a
when it comes
single digit 9%.
To the actual calculations, it comes up to about 12. These are the realities.
The realities, and the administration doesn't know about that. Okay, I think we'll have to take it up then.
These are the realities.
All right, let's take a few comments coming through concerning what we're discussing today. President Buhari's comments on the Nigerian youth. DJ Slim79 on Twitter says, me, I wonder, oh, my brother, go to the street and see what the youths of Nigerians are doing. The youths are waiting for 2019 election. Shebi? That was what was being, said on the social media yesterday, that let President Buhari go and come back from London, that he will hear from us, the Nigerian youths, Okay, let's take another comment. Is the president judging Nigerian youth from his personal experience with his children? That's coming in from Dominic Ibeneme on Twitter. Keep your comments coming. Let's see if we can take others. Please, but what's the statistics of those who have gone to school and who have not? What's the percentage of those who have been given the support for growth? Yet it's now generally that the Nigerian youth is lazy. Okay, let's take other comments. Abraham says, I may not have records, but there are many Nigerian youths who have been whisked away by other countries because of their talent, efforts, and achievement, and they left because there was no enabling platform for them in Nigeria. Okay, Tunde says, a foreign investor will not give his money to those who refuse to go to school.
I mean, why
because he said it at a business forum.
Why are young Nigerians traveling the Sahara Desert to go to Libya? In fact, by the way, we did a major study on motivations for irregular migrations. The report should be out in a couple of months. And I'm sure I'll come back here to share. And
I hear the people from Edo States particularly that have come back, says they want to go back.
We were in Benin, we were in Asaba, we were in Agbo, we were in Lagos, we were in all the major hotspots. We conducted the study.
All right, let's see if we can take take other comments coming through. Keep them coming. All you need to do is to go to Twitter, Moneyline AIT, and Moneyline, that's Nancy Nnaji on Twitter. There was something that I think Ben Bruce also tweeted yesterday, as well as Donald Duke. Let me see if I can get that out. Okay, Donald Duke tweeted yesterday and said, looking at President Buhari's asset declaration, it is evident who sits down and does nothing. That shows that these vibrations we're getting from across the country, a lot of people are not happy with what the president said in London.
No, as I told you earlier, I don't really blame the president, as it were. The president works on the information that he is given. So we have, the minders, those who are with him, his advisors, are not telling him the real situation of things on ground. Either they are not, or two, they're not conducting independent assessments or studies or surveys or polls to go down to the grassroots to find out what is happening to people. Because if they did, for example, the one of the looming food crisis we're talking about, they will be aware. If they did, they would know that a lot of youths are looking for, take Akwa Ibom, for example. We're in Akwa Ibom. There's no light, no power. So even artisans, artisanal workers, traders, barbers, welders, people who want to do their own thing can't work because there's no light. Are you going to spend your whole revenue on buying diesel or fuel to power the generator? I mean, these are the realities.
Ben Bruce says on Twitter, whoever says Nigerian youths are lazy should buy a mirror, and he or she will see the real definition of laziness. I have over 1,000 Nigerian youths in my employ, and not one of them is lazy. Do you think that, how do you think this will vibrate, really? Because the elections are just by the corner, and this is a precedent that came into office with the power of the Nigerian youths, that went on around the country enticing youths, we will do this, we'll create jobs for you, the past administrations haven't done well, you are energetic. All through, before 2015 elections, you saw President Buhari dressed in different attire, trying to entice these youths and all of that. And people are saying, that isn't fair.
You see, 2019 is here. It's just around the corner. And of course, what you see is that the usual money politics comes into play. And that's why, you know, our youth should become more circumspect in the sense that, yes, you have your PVC, but what you do with that PVC at the end of the day is your choice. So they come with the Ghana must goes and bring the monies. Would you take the money and do their bidding, or would you take the money and still do what you want to do and still vote who you think should be the right person to be voted? And that's the political elites understand this, understand that the best way to keep a man down is to keep him hungry, to keep him without education, so that when it's time to use him, you can give him a little carrot, you can give him some small money and get him to do your will. But as long as the youths rise and get their PVCs and say, oh, okay, we'll wait for you. If you bring your money, we'll take it. But we'll still do the right thing. Then there will be a difference. But for now, as it is currently, with the level of poverty we've seen in the States, with the level of unemployment we've seen in the States, these youths, when it's time for election and they're giving money, they will still be the political thugs and they will still do the bidding of the politicians.
I think as even 2019 approaches, we'll try as much as possible to look into all of that, money and politics, and see, and the role of youths in all of this. So I think the basic thing is for everyone to go and get their PVC. If you're not happy with a certain government, you vote them out. Like President Jonathan was voted out and President Buhari came in. So if a Nigerian, you're not happy, just do the right thing. Go get your PVC and wait for elections. All right, just before we go, let's take Patrick Apas on Twitter. He says, it depends which category of youths he's referring to. Number one, politician children, youths. Majority of these ones are very lazy. Or two, ordinary Nigerian children, youths. Almost all of these ones are very hardworking. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said in my
The politicians' children are everywhere around the country. They are in the NNPCs, the CBN and co.
Of course, when Premium Times or one of these agencies released the list of the CBN recruitment, who constituted most of the list was constituted of children of politicians. But those who are the average man's child that just
doesn't have that opportunity.
They just finished youth service. They're still looking for a place to you know, lay their head, a place to at least get some experience. You know, the chicken and the egg. You can't work without experience, but then without work you cannot get any experience. Yes, you can't get. So what and that cycle goes on, and you see people who, because of that cycle, in 7 years after graduation, they are still looking for a job. So you must get experience to get a job. You must get a job to get experience, and it keeps going.
Boris says, if Nigerian youths were not lazy, we won't have installed President Buhari as president of approximately 80 million people. Youths, go and get your PVC. B says, if Nigerian youths are lazy, who are their fathers and leaders? So who is the president of lazy and uneducated youth? I think that's the much we can take now. Thank you very much, Dr. Ihua, for coming and putting some perspectives into all of this. I like the survey you did around the country. So it gives us more of a perspective than perhaps, you know, when we take a look at this, a lot of us take a look at Abuja, Lagos, or Port Harcourt. No. But there's a lot of poverty.
Abuja, Lagos is not Nigeria.
It's not Nigeria, isn't it?
Go to Karamoda.
Because people will say any which way can go, hustlers. Yeah. You know the thing that I saw in the report that my team brought back? A lot of them were saying, hustlers, hustlers, hustlers. What kind of word is that? Every Nigerian is a hustler. Yes. It's a hustler, just to put food on the table.
Change the environment, put them elsewhere.
That was what I told Mr. President yesterday, that the question he should ask himself is that why, when Nigerians leave the shores of this country and they travel abroad, they do better, they flourish. I think the word that I used was they flourish even better than here. That's the question Mr. President should be asking. And when we see those youths that are flourishing, we tend to follow and we identify with them. For example, Anthony Joshua. Is he the only boxer in Ogun State? But governor of Ogun State went all the way from Nigeria to go and support him. How many boxers are in Ogun State that he's supporting? These are the hard questions we should ask ourselves. Absolutely. But many thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
It's for us to say the truth, no matter who's is God.